Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Collector Chatter podcast. This is episode 3, and I'm Miggs. I'm here with Charlie. And Charlie, how you doing? How was your week?
Pretty good. Good week. Once again, a lot of pops have dropped and a lot of, new things. But I even think we're going to obviously be talking about in this episode a bunch of stuff that's maybe dropping tomorrow, which I'm pretty
Yeah,
excited about. But the week is pretty good. Pretty good week. How about you?
cool. Yeah, same with me. Kind of flew by, honestly. But in terms of drops and news and stuff, we got a pretty packed episode for you guys because there's a bunch of stuff that was announced. Like Charlie said, some stuff is still going to be announced, but there's like rumors out there. So we'll run through a bunch of that stuff. And we wanted to do something a little different with the news this time. So basically news and drops. And we wanted to do a little segment called pay or pass. And what we're going to say is we want to give you our opinions on, are we going to pay for this stuff? Like, are we going after it? Did we pre-order it? Do we want it? Or are we going to pass? And, it's like a no-go for us. But for you guys, it might be completely different. Everybody collects completely different lines. But on that, topic, let's go into some of the news. So we'll go into some of the smaller stuff first. I know there was a bunch of pops that just dropped recently for Wonder Woman, and I believe that was like an 80th anniversary or something line for them, right?
Yeah, which I feel they announced that like a long time ago. I thought some of them had already come out. I don't know if this has been is this a line that they've just gradually have been releasing?
So I think so because I was actually gonna say I thought it was like the same as like the movie, but then I saw I said 80th, so I'm confused with how because they've dropped them kind of
Yeah.
sporadically, and they seem very similar. So I don't know if like I know this one has a ride, like that was a big difference because there's one with her on a ride, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it reminds me kind of the Batman anniversary line. The big difference is there's been so many movie iterations of Batman as well as comics that they kind of did everything where
Mhm.
we have one version, well, not just one version, but just one screen version of Wonder Woman. It seems like most
Yeah,
of these are just comic book versions that, I mean, not really for me. Not something I
yeah,
collect. Not that I don't like the
yeah. I
Wonder
was gonna
Woman
say.
character, but
Yeah, it's a cool. Obviously, it's a cool character. It was a great movie, and like you said, if you're a hardcore Wonder Woman fan, you collect all the old school stuff and all these new things. Then yeah, it might be for you. This is a pass for me because it's just too much of those pops where I'm like I don't really want them, and I don't need to fit them into just to get them. So yeah, I'm not really going after those. But I figured we will talk about it because I'm sure there are DC fans or big
totally.
Wonder Woman fans out there. But that was one that I saw. And in terms of like another smaller one, I know we talked about this before, but Black Lightning. Did you see
Yep.
those?
I did see those. Those are pretty cool. It's funny. I watched that show when it first came out. I did enjoy it, but kind of stopped watching it. I don't really watch many. I can't keep up with the CW,
Yeah,
Arrowverse shows. I was like an OG Arrow and Flash, try to watch them all, and then I just gave up. Black Lightning being one of them. The pops do look pretty cool, but I do think for me also this will be a pass. I
yeah.
do
I
like
was
that
I was
it's a
gonna say
small collection though. It's like just four.
yes, 4. Yeah, so they didn't go too. I mean, they came out with a Black Lightning pop for a con. That was
Yes.
like the big one that just skyrocketed in price when that one dropped. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know anything about Black Lightning, so I don't know the character too much. I don't know the show or anything, so I didn't get it for the con. Even though it was a little bit of hype. And then seeing these, they look pretty cool. If you know about it, then obviously it's a cool line. Like you said, it's a little smaller. Just wondering maybe if they're going to build off of it. But yeah, CW shows. I was also huge into the Flash, Arrow, both of them, and same kind of thing. I kind of like slowly died out and I stopped watching it. And now I'm like a few seasons behind where I'm like, do I really want to go back into it? I
Exactly.
enjoyed them, but I think it's like it's a lot. There was like too much at once when those shows dropped.
Yeah, I totally agree.
What do you got over there?
Yeah, then another big announcement was the pop pins. They came out with a
Yes.
bunch of them. I think they came out with Star Wars, X-Men, Seinfeld, I think the DC bombshells, and maybe some
Yep.
Christmas ones.
And some Christmas ones. Yeah.
Yeah, for me too. Like, I think these are pretty cool. I don't have any of the pop pins. I know we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I
Hmm.
do think the Star Wars ones are pretty cool. They're from the episode one, which was one of the prequel movies. They don't make that many pops from it. They've started to. I know someone had last week brought up, we need some more episode two pops. So
Yeah.
it's cool that they're making some more prequel stuff. I do really like the Darth Maul one. I think I'm gonna get that, but for everything else, I'll probably pass. And even for the other lines, like I just don't. I used to be really heavy into collecting Disney pins actually back in the day, but now it's
Yeah.
just they're. I'm gonna pass. I just don't need them anymore. There's
There's too many. There's too
just
many.
too many.
Yeah, I have two pop pins. So I have a Batman and a Joker. So for obvious reasons, I have a lot of Batman and Joker stuff. So I usually try to go after those. And in terms of pop pins, I never really knew the point of them. I didn't know too much about them, but I think what happens when I grabbed those two, it was kind of more like that, just get a couple more items to get free shipping type of thing. So I
Exactly.
did that, tossed them in, and I was like, yeah, all right, this is Batman and Joker. And then the second I got them, I just had no idea how I was even going to display them, because I don't know if you guys know, but we're talking about Funko makes something it's called Pop Pin, and it's essentially like a big square pin, like maybe almost the size of like a pop, but it's flat, and then it has the like a really big pin backing or whatever on it. But they're in like a little box, and I didn't even take them out of the box. The box doesn't really stand because it's very thin, so you have to kind of just like stack them laying down. So it's weird. You can't really display it, I guess, if you have like a big board or something, maybe.
I
So
think though, if you were to be an out of box collector, they may have a stand. Do you know? Do they?
okay, yeah, maybe that's. I've never taken them out, but
Yeah,
I believe it does have like the pin in the back, and it's kind of like a almost like a picture frame. I think it's
exactly.
kind of like
Yep.
kind of how it sits, and I guess you can. I mean, you would have to have a big area to display them, which we're actually going to talk about displays later on. So it's funny that it came up, but yeah, I just have two of them. They're in the closet, and I'm not really showing them. These, I'm not going to go after them, but they're pretty cool. I mean, I could see that if you're a hardcore Star Wars person, Seinfeld, X-Men, they did go with some pretty big lines. The Christmas stuff, they have like Buddy the Elf, I think, or they have a few like
Yeah, they made a Home
pretty
Alone one
big
too.
characters. Yeah. So it's like, it seems cool if you like those, but if you don't collect them, I mean, that's just an extra thing. I don't know. I'm passing on that as well. It's not really anything that I'm like excited about, and I wasn't really excited about seeing, but they look pretty cool. Like the design of them at least is pretty cool. But yeah, that was something I saw as well, and I'm gonna pass on that one.
Then another big thing that came out, which I think we're both pretty excited about, was some new sodas, kind of in the comic book realm. They came out with
Yes.
us. They're coming out with the Spider-Man one from No Way Home. They're coming out with the
Mm-hmm.
Green Lantern one, I believe, a
Yep.
Deadpool one, and one from the Flash.
Yeah.
Am I,
Godspeed.
yeah, Godspeed. Am I was that
Yeah.
all of them?
And there's a the Sorcerer Mickey,
Oh yeah, the Sorcerer's Mickey, and then
Sorcerer
the
Mickey,
other
and then
Fantasia
the
one.
Chernabog
Yeah,
character. Yeah. So that was a pretty cool set of like drops. So like lately with Funko, when they release these sodas, unless it's like a con or something very exclusive, they'll release like 5 of them at once usually, and it's kind of like that wave of different sodas, and they don't always connect. Like they can be complete. Like this had 2 3 Marvels, it had a DC, had Mickey, Disney. So it's definitely like a mix. I thought they were pretty cool. I mean, I know we talked in like for a little while when these dropped on if we were going to actually jump on them, because of the whole, it's a pre-order basically is what
yeah,
dropped. And it's essentially for next year is where they're saying that they're going to come out,
yeah.
they're going to drop 2022. So I have my own, personal reasons why I don't really like pre-ordering, and I rather just wait for them to drop when they're actually available to actually purchase and get them shipped right away. So I like them. I love the Deadpool one. I think that's super cool. I think that was, definitely something that they should have done a long time ago. So I'm glad that they finally did one, because they do so many pops of him, like just make him a soda.
Yeah, why not?
And then the Spider-Man one, I know we both like it. The design, I only have one pretty like nitpicky thing on it, and it's the mold. I think is just terrible. I mean, like it's so boring, and like his arms are down. But then when I was thinking about this, I started looking at, because I have all I think I have all the Marvel ones that came out, whether it's at least one common or a common and a chase of them. I think I have all the Marvel ones that came out, and every single one has the same pose.
Interesting.
They all are the boring, just arms down by the side, like they're in the military. It's like crazy. But Spider-Man, bro, like, why is he not have like his hand out like he's gonna shoot webs? And I get that it's limited because obviously a can is not too big, but they have a Neo where his hands literally sticking out like this. So like they could do it. I know they can't do too much. They're restricted,
Yeah,
like the hands can't go too far out or whatever, but put his hand out like with the Webbers. It's
I
just
agree.
him standing
That is
there.
definitely an interesting find, like that they all are just standing
Yeah.
up like that. I wonder if that's like something that the creative teams have decided they wanted to keep the Marvel line that way. It's weird.
It
At
it
least the
has to be.
Thor one has the hammer.
Yes, he's holding it, but I think it might actually be just down by his side. But it's still like, because even Black Widow, she has like her like some like stick things,
those
but they're
whatever they
down
are.
by her side. They're down by her side. So like other sodas are like that. Like there's a lot of these sodas we can go through where they're very plain with the stance. Maybe their arms are up a little bit, but there are some that have that, at least a little bit of a difference to them. So unless there's a deal and Marvel is like, all right, you can make sodas these characters, but they got to look like they're standing in line in like a military thing or something. It's just so weird to me. I don't know, but I noticed it with the Spider-Man. That's where it stuck out the most because I was like, it just looks so, I don't know,
The
weird.
one
The
thing
design
I
is cool.
do love about the Spider-Man one, though, and obviously you've been getting me into sodas, is when we've talked about this in our previous episodes a little bit, but they're actually two different sodas. Like the chase is him wearing a different suit. A big thing that's going to be part of the new movie is he is going to have multiple suits. And I like that they did that rather than making a metallic or something along those lines, where there's so many different, especially when it comes to comic books, like
Yep.
there's so many different chases you could make. Like the Shang-Chi one, I don't like that they just made it a metallic. Like I haven't seen the movie yet, which is crazy for me because
Yeah. Same thing. Same with
I still
me.
just haven't gone to the movies yet. But he, even just in the trailers, you see him wearing his like normal, just like street clothes. And I know they made Pops that way. And then him wearing his like superhero suit. Like, why didn't they do that? Like, that drives me crazy. So I'm happy they didn't do that with the Spider-Man one.
Yeah, you did say that. I remember when we were talking. So we saw like a sneak peek type of drop, like this is gonna drop, but there wasn't any pictures. It was just the titles and everything. And then the second that they dropped the actual photo, it was exactly like you said. It's going to be a different suit. So I mean, I thought that was cool. Green Lantern was cool. They do a Green Lantern, White Lantern as like the. I know a lot of people were saying they were a little upset. They feel like they should have done two different versions of Green Lantern as
I
like
think they
the
should
Comet and the Chase.
Yeah,
They definitely should have done that way. I think it looks cool though. The White Lantern one, the Gospy one's a really cool one. The Mickey one's awesome. I mean, Mickey's now getting a lot of different sodas because they first came out with the Steamboat Mickey, and the Vampire Mickey is coming out soon. That one's already been like announced, and now this one, which is a Sorcerer one, which obviously is another famous, big one, and then the Chernobog one from Fantasia as well. I was very excited for these sodas. So like, I'm gonna say this is definitely a pay for me. I didn't get them as pre-orders, but I'm gonna want to try to go after them. So when they do come out and I'm able to, buy them off of a site or whatever it is that actually gets them.
I agree. I'm definitely going to want
them.
these. I think this is like, for me getting into sodas now, this is like one of the best drops I've seen.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
I knew you were going to like, because like Charlie said earlier, so I'm a huge soda collector. So if you guys only know about Funko and in the pop world, sodas is basically essentially, another figure that they make in a soda can, smaller figure with a pog. And all of them, not all, there's a very few that don't, but majority of them have a chase version. And it's the whole 1 in 6. So that, it makes it very exciting to try to pull the chase. I started getting more into them because they take up less room. They're cool. They're exciting to get. I love the way they look, and they make so many characters. So then Charlie started getting into them because I kind of talked him into a few, and then he found some Disney ones and some Marvel ones, of course, which we all know he's a huge fan. And now when I saw this drop, I'm like, dude, this is everything. Charlie will get all of these.
It's
like,
made for me. Yeah, I agree.
I was like, these are sick, but I like them. And there was a couple other sodas announced as well. There was, I don't know if you saw this one, but there was a Jollibee soda, which has already been rumored. There was already pictures of it a while ago. Somebody like bought one because it's an exclusive to the Philippines, which is like where, Jollibee really is originally from. It seems pretty cool. I think it's a glow in the dark chase. And I think now it's starting to roll its way out. So I did see a few like rumors of that. So that one should be something that's going to be probably very hard to get. It's very limited. And if you do get it, the price is going to be insane. Because I know with that original one, it was already up that high. But the other sodas that came out are part of a bigger category that we're going to talk about. And it's the Saturday morning cartoons line that they dropped. And Funko did a whole little rollout of it. Seems like they put a lot of stuff into this. They had one of those little videos that they do with Brian, and it's so corny, but they did a drop, and they basically announced all these movies, which are shows, which I'm sure they are big fans of. Like you said, they love doing stuff that they're big fans of. And personally, they're pretty cool. I know of some of the cartoons. I don't know of some of the other ones. I didn't necessarily watch too many of them. It was very heavy on Cartoon Network, essentially, is kind of what it seemed like. And there were also a few sodas in that same drop. So with the sodas, I know I had pulled it up here because I forgot exactly which ones that dropped. But with the sodas, I know there was like a Powerpuff Girl one.
There was an underdog
There,
one.
there's an Underdog one. That one's pretty cool. Underdog one. And then there was two other ones, which I mean, one was a Hanna-Barbera show, the banana, the like
Banana
elephant.
splits, I think.
Yeah, I've never seen that. And then the other guy, Roger Ramjet, never seen that either. So I'm not interested in these sodas. The Underdog one is cool, maybe, but the other three I definitely won't go after. But the pops, what do you think about the pops? I mean, you can even let us know
Yeah,
which ones dropped because it was a lot.
yeah. I mean, so I thought this was actually a pretty weak like event for them in general. Like it's not what I expected. I mean, one of the pops that dropped that I actually am gonna get is Blue's Clues. It's
Yeah.
weirdly like one of my son's favorite shows. So I want to get that for my collection just because like I watch it with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was like it was weird for that to come out. And then, like we said, a Powder Puff Girls, they came out. Not only are they
Yeah.
getting sodas, they're getting a Funko Pop line, which I think they may already have them. I
I
think
think
they,
there's an OG one, like a really, really
yeah,
OG of them, of the main girls, I think.
they came out with Cow and Chicken. They came out
Yeah.
with a Ren and Stimpy one, which is kind of cool, but like I once again, not for me. Um,
There was a Johnny Bravo. I know that was another one
oh yeah,
that
and
that had released before, a different version now. Essentially,
a
they
Peppa
dropped.
Pig one, which is also really random. That to me kind of
Yeah,
goes along with, I guess, the Blue's Clues one. But
yeah,
I don't really. It's just so interesting. It's like I'm getting the Blue's Clues one because one, I think the pop looks kind of cool, and like I said with my son, he
yes,
watches Peppa Pig as well. But like I don't see where they think that I find that to be a really interesting pop that they're making because I don't see anyone who's a collector would have grown up on that show at all. At least the Blue's Clues, yes. I don't think Peppa
yeah.
Pig's that old of a show. I find it really interesting that they made that.
Yeah, it is interesting because it also makes you think about the overall like what Funko is doing in terms of like who they're targeting towards because Peppa Pig is for little kids.
Yeah,
Like you're not even like in the teens or any of that. You're watching Peppa Pig. You're watching when you're like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, you know? So like it is an odd one. I mean, like it makes sense because it's very popular, it's a big show,
exactly.
but to put in a pop, it doesn't make sense unless it's because now at that point you're making it almost like just a toy figure that a little kid's gonna play around with. And
Unless
if
they're
that's the
really
case,
trying to start you young.
I mean, it could be because who knows? I mean, maybe they're just trying to get more and more people. So the Blue's Clues one I thought was pretty cool. There's actually a Hot Topic exclusive flocked
Locked
one,
one. That looks
which that
cool.
one looks really sick. And like I have one of my favorite pops that I actually own is a flocked Scooby Doo, and I love the way that that looks. So like a flocked another dog, I guess
It's
as
probably
Blue's Clues,
cool.
I think would be pretty cool. But yeah, there was Dexter's Laboratory as well. There was Adventure Time, which had a whole line. I think like 5 or 6
They added a
pops for
lot.
that.
There was a
Yeah,
Flintstones one too that I think there's
yeah.
like a t-shirt combo, which
T-shirt bundle, which I actually thought was already out. So I was a little confused
yeah,
with that. It was like a fruity, like
it's a
I think
GameStop
it was a Fruity Pebbles one,
exclusive.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like those aren't gonna do so well. Maybe I see now this is the thing. I've seen all over my feed on Instagram people reposting and they were pretty big fans in the Powerpuff Girls. Like there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I love this, loving this. Yes, finally dropping this." And then some of the Dexter fans, like Dexter's
Okay.
Laboratory. So like I guess it's gonna sell. There's people out there that like it. Personally, I'm a pass on this entire line because it's not like if anything I watched more Nickelodeon shows than Cartoon Network shows I guess as a kid or just even being
Yep.
younger. And besides the Blues Clues, that's probably the only one that I would say would be like a pay for me, and maybe the Underdog Soda, but the other three sodas I'm definitely a pass on those.
Yeah, I
By
completely
yourself,
agree. I
Pete.
mean, passing on everything besides the Blue's Clues one, I will want to get for my
Yeah,
collection. And I wouldn't get the underdog soda, but to me, it's the best one. I do really
yeah,
like that it's him in his, superhero suit and then him on, what
yeah,
he
yeah. They made
normally
it
looks
cool.
like. They made it
They made
cool.
a cool version. I
Um,
have the pop that recently came out and the con. So like so it would be cool to kind of fit that in because they actually do have no, they didn't. No, it's the same time period. Super Chicken is out. Same people made it, and
yeah.
that is in a soda form already. So, but yeah, I mean, that was that job. That was a pretty big one. Like Charlie said, I thought it was a little weak as well. It was a big rollout. They did a whole video version, with little acting and everything to show these off. I don't know if they were doing that hoping that it would help or if they just really think this thing's gonna be big. But personally, I don't think so. One I think that will be pretty sweet, and I know right away you were a big fan of this, is the new movie Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yep.
And they just, I think like five were announced as the mini puffs, and they're all like different versions. They're like doing little things and stuff. So those are pretty cool. I know you saw
Yeah,
those.
those are cool. I'm
I'm definitely a
excited for that
fan.
movie. And that's definitely, they're setting that up to be like a new, baby Yoda type product. I think they're hoping that becomes like the star of the new movie.
Yeah.
And I do think they're going to make, just from seeing those few that, leaked, there's tons of them.
Hmm.
I feel like there's going to be a line of just a million of them, just like they did with the Grogu ones, million different poses
Yeah.
holding something different. They're going to milk that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I mean, if you look at it, because like they do show him in the trailer, right? Or they show
Yes,
that that's like
they
a thing,
do.
right? Okay.
Yep.
Because when I saw it initially, I had to remember how the trailer was, because I was like, are they spoiling this? Like, is this gonna just be
Yeah.
a huge spoiler now? But I guess like the character exists, and there's this whole little baby version basically, but it's exactly like what you said. It's gonna be another baby Yoda. It's a baby marshmallow looking thing. It's just like it's
I mean,
it's the movie I'm excited for. I'm definitely super
yes.
excited for the movie. I think it's gonna be great, but it's easy for them. It's just it's another thing that they can make so many versions of it, continue to sell it, and it'll probably be as big as Baby
I
Yoda
think
stuff
they
was
read
when
there's going
that
to be a
dropped.
Baskin Robbins exclusive one, which is just so random. So I don't know if there's
Wow.
like product placement for that in the movie or what,
Oh
which
man,
makes
that would
sense. It
be
could be,
such a reach.
but totally
What
random. Yeah.
if-
So when I say they're milking it, there's going to be tons of different versions.
Yeah, that sounds insane. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked honestly at that point if that's even an option for them. But hey, if they're gonna do it, whatever. I mean, they're gonna drop that. I know. Besides that, we also had something that I know is definitely a pay for us, because I know for a fact that we both ordered it,
Yep.
and that is the 10-inch Iron Man, which is a GameStop exclusive, and it's a glow in the dark. And this one, when I first saw it, I was actually a little confused. And I remember saying to you, I thought it was the 18-inch, because I know that there's already rumors on the 18-inch Iron Man coming out, which looks like it's going to be super epic. But in the 10-inch form, it's pretty cool. I mean, he's kind of like flying up with like the jetpack stuff coming off of
Yep.
him, which I'm sure that's what really will glow, because it is a glow in the dark. And I think they might have a pop like this already, no, in like the regular 4-inch form. It
Yeah.
seemed like it was something redone,
Well,
just
yeah,
bigger.
because it's an Age of Ultron
Yes, like
line
from that movie,
from
from the
that
line.
movie,
Yeah,
which is totally, in my opinion, random. But
yeah.
we
They
kind of
do
we
it
were
with
talking
Marvel,
about this
man.
recently, how they're just bringing back random movies. I mean, it's
Yep.
cool, but then sometimes it's like doesn't need to be branded per that movie. But I guess he
Yeah.
did wear, even though there's very slight differences, he had a different suit in every movie.
Everyone was
Yeah.
a little different.
So that's why. But I mean, regardless, it's really cool. It's just weird that they picked Age of Ultron. I
Yeah.
would probably prefer the original Avengers, just like, I don't know, like it would just look cooler on the box, and it just makes more sense to make the first big Iron Man, or even just from the original movie, like Age of
Yeah,
Ultron. To
even
me,
from Iron Man
it's just
itself.
random. It's, in my opinion, but it's still cool nonetheless.
I wonder how that works, because obviously they have a Marvel, contract and licensing and everything with them. So like is it specific movies that they have to pick from, or maybe they're like, okay, we're not going to make any from this one, but we need more of this one. And I wonder like how that conversation goes on. But I just think it's cool because it's like, in my opinion, when it comes to 10 inches, I don't know if we could just go into this a little bit, but 10
Yeah.
inches, they're cool pops the way I see them. Like, their detail is always amazing on them, because they're a bigger version of them. They take up a lot of room, so I see why a lot of people pass on them and don't ever want to get 10-inch. But I love having like the core big name characters of a show or a comic
Yeah.
or whatever being in that 10-inch form that I like to collect. So like, I have a Superman, I have the Joker, I have a Mandalorian. Like, those are pretty big things, and I would say Iron Man is one of those. So like, when I saw it,
I
I was
agree.
like, I gotta have them. I have a lot of horror ones. I have a Pennywise. I have Chucky, and I just ordered recently the Michael Myers one is coming out. Like, to me, those are epic big names in a 10-inch. They look sick out of box. They look amazing if you have the room to put them out of box. I did for a little while. Now they're all back in box because I ran out of room. But yeah, that's why I picked up on the Iron Man. I think it's going to be pretty cool. The only thing is now we're doing it through GameStop. We had a huge rant on stuff with Target. I haven't really ordered through GameStop a lot. I think you don't like ordering too much to them.
I don't, but they weirdly never disappoint. Actually, they don't cancel orders. I normally just don't like to order from them because what they do, which I think is really sketchy, is they don't give you free shipping until it's $35. And let's say you pre-ordered, you know, pops that added up to $40. They do it based off of when they ship, so it doesn't count as spending that amount of money. They charge you shipping per product. So I normally
Wow.
don't go with them. I mean, I remember one time they came out with Knights of the Old Republic Star Wars series, which is like one of my favorite video games of all time. They were
Mhm.
super cool pops. And I was like, I want these, and I knew if I didn't pre-order them, I probably wouldn't. There's one that I still don't have that I'm like kind of pissed off I didn't just pre-order and pay the shipping, but because it's gone up in value. But at that point, it was like, oh yeah, that we want you to pay like $40 in shipping. It was almost more than it was more than what I was spending on the pops. So it was just
Yeah.
like, that's why I don't like them. That
Yeah.
drives
So
me
maybe
crazy.
for like a big drop with multiple items, it won't be the smartest thing. I guess with this, it's fine. It was one big item that's already priced a little bit higher anyways.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna,
And they
so yeah, I'm
typically
hoping.
they do price their pops a little bit higher as well than I
Yes,
feel like
yeah, they
other
price their
places.
sodas, I think, too. I think everything that they sell is usually a little higher, a little bit higher at least than like a generic other store that might be dropping them. But yeah, that was one definitely that we both went after. We both ordered them, and I don't even know how long it's gonna take. A lot of these, that's the only thing with pre-orders. I mean, it's just like you forget about them 4 or 5 months later, and you're still like, oh
I
wait, and
agree.
then something shows up, and
The one thing though I
it's a
will
cool
say
one though.
about GameStop though is they do, when they say that's coming out, it's coming out, and that's when it would go out in the store as well.
Yeah,
Was what I've noticed from the few times I've pre-ordered from them before. You're not like waiting, and it's not like they're showing up on shelves other places, and you're like, why don't I have this? Which
yeah,
happens a lot,
that's what I
especially
don't
with
like.
Target.
Yes, and I should feel like with the big stores, they should be the ones that doesn't ever happen.
I
A
agree.
small little comic shop or a small mom and pop, collector shop that happens to get allocation, it makes a little bit more sense because they're a little bit smaller. They're very particular on where they're sending these things out. But yeah, I don't know about that. I wouldn't. I guess we're gonna wait. We got to see if it comes. I'm excited that at least I was able to order it. I think it's pretty cool. I think it'll be pretty sick to add. Oh, just drop
Yeah,
something.
I'm a big fan of the line. I mean, I do have my first one I ever got was Thanos, which to me that's like a perfect 10-inch pop. Like he,
Yeah,
in my
he's
opinion,
already
demands.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have like a T-Rex from Jurassic Park. I have the Mandalorian. I have, yeah, a few other Star Wars ones. They're cool.
Yeah, the
And
Star
I
Wars
do
ones
take
lend pretty
those out of
well.
box actually. Like I have an Ewok, I have a port, like they look cool out of the box, like in the
They look
box.
really cool.
And a lot of times the box comes damaged anyway.
Yes, a lot of bigger boxes, two
Yeah.
packs, like the towns and all that usually do that too. Um, but speaking of Star Wars, we got to get into this. So if you guys haven't seen, this was something that I just saw today. I have to pull it up because there's just a list of a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But there is some new pops for Star Wars Mandalorian line, which we haven't really seen a big drop for Mandalorian like this in a while. We see a few, maybe 2, 3 at a time type of thing.
Yeah.
But according to this, we're going to get a few different exclusives. So I know Funko Shop exclusive, which is Mando with Beskar staff. And we don't have any pictures, so we have no idea what these look like. When you guys are listening to this, I believe on Monday, there should be a confirmation of actual drop so you can pre-order.
Yeah.
That's the rumor. It's not confirmed. This is all just, the rumor of these, but the source is pretty reliable. This is usually what's dropping. So that'll be one. And then we have a whole nother line, which I know you were talking about some of these, and this has got some Walmart and Entertainment Earth and even a Walgreens exclusive.
Yeah, which they're impossible to get. So many Star Wars pops that I want go to Walgreens and they're impossible. Like I
Yeah,
can't ever
that's
find
such a
them.
weird.
It's
It's
totally
it's one
weird.
of the weirdest ones that they have. That like I don't know. I've gotten lucky and gotten a few of the Universal monsters.
Okay.
Like they'll have like Dracula and Frankenstein. They've a couple Walgreens exclusives have come out, and I've actually gotten them in the store. I've seen them randomly, and then I think I ordered one through Walgreens, like the website. And I sort of got it was probably the only time in my life I've ever ordered something off of Walgreens.com. It was like the weirdest thing ever. And
Yeah.
it was a Funko Pop. So
I
so it
agree.
was just one of those weird things. But yeah, this one's Frog Lady is the one that's going to be coming out through Walgreens. Then we got a glow in the dark Mandalorian from Entertainment Earth. We have a Dark Trooper with a child, which is also glow in the dark. Both of those are Entertainment Earth exclusives. And then there's a Boba Fett without the helmet. That
I
is
want
probably
that
gonna
real
look pretty
bad.
sick.
Yeah.
That's gonna probably look sick. Yeah, that's a Walmart exclusive, which is tricky because Walmart's tough as well with
Yes.
either getting it or delaying it or them canceling it. Because oh my god, that happened to us with the
Yeah.
Batman comic. So the the comic cover pops that they released. Superman was the first one, the only one they have. Batman released through Walmart, and it was a pre-order, and then they canceled it. And they canceled it on both of us. I think it canceled a lot of people. I've seen a few people like kind of mad about that. So I don't know what's going on because there's
Yeah,
no date or anything.
it's weird. One thing
get it.
I've noticed too now is retail stores like that. The date like changes from their supplier, and instead of just being like emailing the customer being, hey, this is delayed. Amazon does this. It's like, do you want to still approve it or do you not want to get it anymore? Most of the time that works, but it's like, oh, we don't know when it's coming out, so we're just going to drop all the pre-orders. Like now that's not going to probably be easy to get, or you're going to overpay retail price for it, which like just stinks.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really wanted that
Me
Batman
too.
the comic thing. So now I don't know where else it's being sold, and like I'm gonna have to try to figure that out. But this line is definitely long, man. This is a pretty big. There's a Marshall with Chase. There's a
The one I'm
child
the
using
most
force. There's
excited.
so many.
Yeah, I'm pumped for the Luke Skywalker and Grogu pop. That is one that will probably be. I mean, it's just going to be a common, but I know it'll be one of my favorites when that. Spoilers if you haven't seen Mandalorian, but once again, you should have seen it by now, especially if you're listening to this podcast. But I mean, Luke Skywalker comes back. It was like a huge surprise for everyone, and that it was kind of like the Grogu with the first season. They didn't tell anyone, so there's been no merchandise. I feel like they should have already came out with this pop, and it's finally coming out. So I'm really pumped about that.
Yeah, especially because it's been out and we're already going to start getting into another season or all the other things. And then there was a moment, so it looks like a movie moment with Boba Fett and Fennec Shand.
Yeah, which I'm like, I'm gonna want that, but I'm trying to think of like what that would be,
what actual scene or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange like movie moment in my opinion for them to have picked, especially with the Mandalorian line. I mean, the first thing that pops in my mind, they're coming out with, we said the Dark Trooper pop and then a Luke Skywalker pop. Why not? One of the biggest scenes probably in the entire series that fans loved was him fighting them to go, when he was going to rescue Grogu. Why not make that? Like this just seems like a completely random movie moment in my opinion, but I'm excited to see what it is.
Yeah. And one of the ones that came up, so there's another one here, a child using force, and then it says SFX. Do you know what that is?
I wonder if that means special effects.
Is that
like I wonder if it's going to do something,
line or something?
Maybe it's new.
Yeah, because they do have Star Wars like
they've done sounds. The lightsaber ones and sounds. I wonder if that's what it is, but that's
maybe that's weird... what is on the parentheses. So I don't know. It's using the force.
I didn't notice that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that I saw right away. I was like, this seems kind of like, is that standing for something or is it a special effects thing? And if it is, what does that mean? Like, is it going to light up, but like not glow, like an actual light up? But like I know they did Mysterio where you can click on him and he would like glow in the dark, not glow, like light up.
I'm gonna go with that's probably what that's gonna be. Or do you remember? You know what? Do you remember the scene when he's like sitting on the rock and I wonder if that's what that is.
That's what I thought it was going to be, that scene where everything's like around them all.
Okay, so that's probably what that is.
Stuff. That's what I'm assuming is what they're like going to do it off of. But I just wonder is it going to be like something that you turn on or something that actually lights up. But I mean, hopefully we'll see these on Monday. Yeah. So when you're listening to this, hopefully you already seen them. If not, you'll probably be able to find them. If that's the rumors that they're going to drop at least probably the pre-orders, or at least to show you what they're like, and then you can pre-order from there. But yeah, that was pretty much. Oh, the last thing I had for news was Nightmare Before Christmas train. So that dropped on Funko Shop. So if you guys got lucky on that drop, that was maybe, when was that? Wednesday, Thursday or something?
Yeah, I think it was Thursday.
Yeah, one of those drops, and they had an exclusive Funko Shop one, which was a clown one, and then they dropped all the other ones for the rest of the train with all the characters. They're pretty cool. It's definitely something that would look really awesome displayed out on like a nice,
Yeah,
table. Obviously during the holidays, Halloween, Christmas, because it's Halloween and a
works for
Christmas movie
both. Yeah,
technically. So that would be pretty cool. I passed on the Disney train, which I also thought was also pretty cool, but it just didn't have the room. And
yeah,
then once they dropped and the price went up on them, it just didn't even make sense to even try to go after. So I didn't go after these, but it's pretty cool. I think it's
yeah.
something that
I think they're
people probably
cool.
did try to.
I didn't go after them. I did really want the Disneyland 65th anniversary ones, but I wasn't able to get them. And like you said, they just went up in price and not worth it. And you need them all, in my opinion, for it to look
Yeah,
complete.
absolutely.
And there was way too many Funko Shop exclusives for that, which I didn't
Hmm.
like. I mean, I like when they do one and it stinks if you don't get it, but it makes the whole chase of getting the,
Hmm.
collection fun. But when they start putting a bunch of them on their shop, when it's impossible at that point, it was really hard to get pops there. I know we talked about the queue system that they've been
Yeah,
implementing now, which if you get in that, you probably do have a good chance of getting it. So that
yeah.
I'm happy about that, but those trains were impossible. I tried to get them and they sold out in seconds.
Yeah. And then I remember like right after it was just impossible to get because of the price. Like that was crazy. But this one actually did the queue process as well. Did you try to even look? Because I wanted to
I
look at it and
did.
I went in and it put me into the queue
Me
process.
too.
I was
Like
like, okay.
I actually could have gotten it, but I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy all of these. It's just too much.
Yeah, it was way too there's like six of them or something. It's
Yeah,
like
but they are
it's too
cool.
many to get, but it is a cool line. It's something that I remember seeing them being announced that they were going to drop a train for them a while back. I don't know if it was during like the July, like when they did like the summer Halloween type of thing for a
I
lot of the
think it
drops.
was.
It might
Yeah.
have been, yeah, when it was announced. But yeah, so I didn't go after that one either. But it's something I think that's pretty popular when it comes to fans out there. Nightmare Before Christmas is pretty popular. But so that was pretty much the news. And that was our pair pass section as well. Any of you guys know? You guys can let me know and let us both know in the comments. Like, are you getting any of this stuff? Did you get any of this stuff? Feel free to message us as well, and we'll respond back to you guys. But we wanted to do a topic here that I asked a few people as well through Instagram, just kind of give us some of their feedback, and we kind of want to just go back and forth ourselves because this is something obviously as collectors in general, not even just Funko Pops and sodas and stuff like that, but as a collector in general, this is something that if you're starting to collect, you need to think about this before you even start to collect. And I
Correct.
feel like
Yep.
a lot of times you don't. And I was one of the ones I just started collecting and then had to figure this out as I went. But it has to do with displaying your stuff. So displays, whether it's what kind of displays are you using, how are you displaying it? When it comes to Funko specifically, are you an inbox person? Are you an out of box person? You obviously see that I'm a mix. I think Charlie's a mix as well.
Yep.
So we'll kind of go into our reasons for that and just kind of see what the pros and cons to everything is, especially when it comes to running out of room and having displays and stuff like that. So I'll let you start off, Charlie, so you can kind of let me know just your outlook on displays. How do you normally do it? Have you changed over time, or like what are your tips and tricks and that kind of thing with maybe a new collector or maybe someone who's got a really big collection and they're trying to figure it out?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way I like to display them is I am a mix of out of box and in box. When I first started collecting, I kind of just took them out of the box because even though I've been a collector in general, they just like look, the boxes are amazing looking, but they just look
Mm-hmm.
cooler out of the box, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Some, it depends. And then, I also felt like at times it was harder to display them all just in the box. Like you're kind of just like, if you don't have like the shelves you have behind you are perfectly made for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had gotten, whether they were bookshelves and I'd put them on, or, I even utilized like old DVD racks that I had that I didn't have the
Yeah.
DVDs in anymore, put them on. I put them on tables. I have them up in a room, not in there right now because it's right next to my son's room. And like, I don't want to wake him up during this, but,
Yeah.
it gets hard. You really need, in my opinion, to like get, my dream one day is to have a room where it's just like so dedicated to them. And like,
Yep.
I've never really gotten something for the sole purpose of like, I knew this was what I was going to put my Funkos on. I kind of had things or repurposed stuff. One
Yeah.
thing I do have, which is pretty cool, that my wife had gotten me, was she bought me one of the Star Wars displays that they actually have in a retail store that they
Okay.
put the pops on. She
Yeah.
like
Okay. Yeah.
found it
I've seen
one
some people with
day
that.
on Amazon, and I do put all my Star Wars one on there, which is pretty cool. But it's like it's really hard, and it really depends how you want to display them.
Yeah.
I do feel like the average collector doesn't take them out of the box. They don't really take any of their things out.
Hmm.
And I go back and forth. Like they're, like I said, some I like to take out and some I don't. And I do struggle. Like some days I'm like, I want to take them all out. And then I'm like, oh my God, I took this one out. I probably shouldn't have, especially in the beginning. Like, but I don't get rid of any of my boxes, which I know it's just funny. I've
Yeah.
seen people on like TikTok who are like, they have soul pages where they're collectors and they destroy their boxes. Like I cringe at that. Like I at least
Yeah. I've
keep
seen some.
them. And but that's a whole storage in itself, like,
Yep.
which is also annoying, which I
Yep.
never thought about this, but one, it's kind of funny why you started collecting sodas. It really is like they're just so much smaller and easier to display.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. A lot of the stuff that like you said is very similar to me. So the way I started collecting, I I started collecting them. I got boxes, I didn't take them out of the box because I thought they were just cool. It wasn't really a value thing to me or anything like that. I was just like, I had the boxes. All right, let me display them. I ended up getting one, I think it was from like IKEA. It was basically one of those shelves that has like a couple layers on it with glass,
Yep.
but it's open. Like no, all four sides are open. So they didn't have glass on the sides. There was only glass on the levels that you would go up maybe 4 or 5 levels up. And I started putting them on there. And I had a few, so it's very easy. Then I started getting a couple more, and now you're making like pyramids and stuff. Because
Yeah.
then I'm like, if I can't see it and it's behind another one, what's the point of having it displayed? And that's what started happening. I would put 4 or 5, and then it would be no room to put them in front, so I'd have to put a second layer like behind them, so you can't even see those. So then that started happening, and I started thinking like, this is insane. Like, is the point of why I have these to display them like actually so you can see them, or is it just like I have these and they're here, and some of them you might see, some of them you don't? So that's kind of what I started battling with, and then I got these shelves right here, which these are from Michaels, and they are actually originally dedicated for baseball bats.
That's what I
So
was
it's a
about to say. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a baseball bat display. Now, when Michaels sold this is a few years ago, and this is when I first started collecting pops. I found these and I saw a couple random people using these. Like, this is how I display my pops type of thing. I was like, that's sick. They fit perfectly. It's literally the size of a 4-inch pop. Some of them don't. Some that have big hair or a big helmet or hat or something may not fit. So that's why I started doing this whole like some outside, some inside, because the
Yep.
sizing was a little different. But I started doing that, and it takes up a lot less room. I personally think it looks sick. Like, I think it's a cool look. Like you said, out of box, they look awesome. You can show the figures detail and whatever. So I started doing that. My wife wanted me to do that because it took up less room. Now, in my old apartment that we lived in, I was setting this up in like a corner of our bedroom. We didn't have a dedicated room. We didn't have it. So it was just the corner of the bedroom. So she basically said originally it looked like a Hot Topic because I just had boxes in these like shelves. So then I'm like, all right, I'll do something different. Let me get these displays. So I got displays, started doing that way. She was fine with it. It looked better. But at that point, I was very early on in collecting, and I actually ended up getting rid of every single box of these.
Okay.
So this entire wall, which is easily over 100 pops, I do not have the box for. Some of these are old, some of them have crazy values, some of them don't, some are just regular. But to now, they don't really worth anything because they're out of box. But to me, I love them. They're my OG pops, and I love the way they look. And I just have the box for them. I can't do anything now because it's already gone. So I try not to like dwell on it. But afterwards, I was pretty upset because I was like, I should have kept the boxes. But it's the same thing, like you said. Now you got to store them in a bigger box and put them into storage or put them in a closet.
Yeah.
And now you're just taking up room anyways. So I wish I still had them, but I think it's pretty unique that I have the kind of both looks with
Yep. I agree.
in box and out of box. I started doing out of our inbox completely after that. So afterwards, everything stayed in a box, and I just kept them in box. When I would do unboxings, videos that I was doing on my pop page, I would take them out of the box to show them and then put them back in. And then eventually I was just like, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep them in the box. You see them in the box, that's it. And that's the way I kept it. What's funny about these Michaels shelves is now if you go to Michaels, these are actually being like advertised as for toy figures.
Wow.
Like and it's pretty cool because they'll have like it's not Funko or pop, but they'll have a picture and it'll be the toy little figures and like on the side saying like you can fit these in here, and they sell them with LED strip lights built in
That's awesome.
so that you can actually light down or light up whatever on your figures. So they obviously know how to make money. They're pretty expensive. Well, that's the thing. These things, there's always sales at Michael's. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever gone to Michael's in
Yep.
general, but they always have these crazy sales. That's the only way to get them. But normally they're like $50 for like one if you don't get a sale. Normally they're like buy one, get one free or half off or something.
Which
But
is good.
yeah, so it makes it worth it. So I got a decent amount of them. I actually had more of them and two of them fell off the wall and broke. So I had to
Okay.
like put up less. But yeah, pretty much that's that display. And then the rest of them, I went with shelves. These are just piece of board from like Home Depot. Got a couple like brackets to hang them up, and I figured out this was the best way to display a row of pops. There's nothing behind them. They're literally like just the wood is a little bit bigger than the width of the pop. And then same thing with you. I started finding like bookshelves and things like that. But what you realize is that they're not dedicated for these figures.
Exactly.
Like a bookshelf is very deep. So if you're gonna put it, like I have a few bookshelves, I think they're from IKEA. And right now you can see like 6 pops in one of the squares. They're like these square openings. You can see 6 pops, but there's actually 12 pops behind them because you can go 3 back. So I have pops that you can't even see, and they're technically not being displayed. And that's something that I struggle with all the time because I'm always rotating. I do it all the time. Like I'll rotate this out, I'll change some of these, I'll change some of the sodas. And I'm like, I want everything to be seen. And I know it's not going to, but like I want it to at least do a little by little. So that's what I found with bookshelves not being them. They're easy, but
I
you're
agree.
gonna hide pops. You're definitely gonna hide, what's there unless you're rotating them. And then just real quick on sodas, that's why I love them. So like sodas are smaller. I could fit so many sodas. So the amount of sodas going across is definitely more than the amount of pops. They're meant to be taken out and shown because the can has its own cool art. The figure has its own thing. You also have a pog. And I just like putting them out there. I think they look really cool. But sodas, even now, I'm running out of room because I just have them kind of in different sections because I've been kind of going crazy on sodas. But that's kind of like what I see in that. But as far as like in and out of box in general, I know we had a couple people talking about they do the same thing. Some people separate, they're in, some are out. I've spoken to people that go bananas when they found out that all these out of box ones, I don't even have the boxes. And I'm like, I just didn't know that it was going to be, I didn't know I was going to collect like this. I just liked them. And then
The
I
thing
thought
that's
maybe I'll
funny
get a
for me
few.
though is like, yeah, do I have some pops that are worth a decent amount of money? Yes. But I'm in this because like I love them and because I'm just like passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
movies and TV. I don't really see myself like ever really wanting to sell them.
Yeah.
So like to me, like, yeah, I would probably feel just like you, a little distraught that I threw the boxes out. But at the end of the day, like they're cool to look at, they're fun, and it's not the end. There's a lot worse things that could happen. But
Oh yeah, I know.
I just know some people I know have said to me, like, I can't believe you take those out of the box. And to me,
Yeah.
like I have, like I said, my main collection is Star Wars, and I do collect like other Star Wars things. So I do have a display that just has like a bunch of Star Wars stuff, whether it's like autographed pictures, action
Mhm.
figures, plushes, mostly Funkos. But I do have them kind of displayed, even though they go back a little. You can see all the different ones, how I've kind of organized them, but it's because they're out of the
Yeah.
box. If they were in the box, yeah, you
Yes.
get to see the front, and that's really it.
Yeah, I was gonna say when it's out of box, it's different. If you have a big shelf and you put a bunch of out of box, you can put them all over the place. Like I've seen some pretty sick soda displays because you can do that with
Yeah.
sodas versus with a box, a pop that's in a box. There's different size boxes. You got 2 packs, you got like the movie ones, you got like bigger ones. So it's like gets confusing on how you're gonna display these. But I think the biggest thing is like the only way you're ever going to get what you really want, and I want the same thing that you said, is to have like a dedicated room.
Yeah.
Like this is actually my bedroom as well. This is like a corner side because it spills over to the other side of all my stuff, and then I have overflow of stuff in my closet. So like my closet has on the three, there's a kind of like a walk-in closet, and on 3 sides they have a big shelf, and it's stacked to the top up there, like 3 back of pops. And it's like stuff that like I'm like okay with not necessarily having out or having on my backdrop here or anything, but it's still stuff I don't want to get rid of and I like it. And then it's just like the same thing with you. I passionately like these things, and I like the ones, even these old ones that I've had, that I'm like, I can't get rid of them. The only time I ever do, because I do sell stuff sometimes on
Yep.
whatnot, things like that, is if I'm getting duplicates, because of course I'll open up mystery boxes, and if it's a pop that I literally will never collect, I'll sell it to somebody else for cheap because they like it and I don't really like it. Or if it's a duplicate. But then more recently, I started kind of doing like a purge on like really early on pops that I thought I liked, because we kind of talked about this last
Yep.
week, I think, with like McDonald's and stuff like that. And now I'm like, I don't really need these, and they're just extra, taking up more room. I'd rather have the room for something I really want, or maybe sell a few off and get one really cool pop that I really, really want. And that's kind of like the way I look at that aspect of it. But having room is like the biggest thing. I mean, if you don't have the space, then you're gonna have to figure things out, and like figure out how you're gonna display them. When we asked people on like what they're doing, we got a few responses, but one that I thought was pretty funny was, this is actually one of my good friends, Vin. He says, wherever there's room. And I've seen how he has them. He has like a room, I don't know what kind of room it is or whatever, but it's like a room where he has them stacked from floor to ceiling along the wall, not in a shelf, not just stacked. And it's just so many of them. And like, I mean, you get that problem sometimes when you sell, like, I mean, when you get too many of them, and you got to figure it out. A few other people's shelves, bookshelves was also another thing people said. But I think dedicated actual things is kind of tough, because they don't build for this specific
They don't.
size. That's why like a shelf like this is okay. But the second you get into bookshelf style and like cubbies and things like that, they're all meant for like deeper, bigger items, not like a box. Or like maybe you'll get one that you can fit a couple, but you can't fit two on top of each other because it's not big enough. Like that'll happen. And like, yeah, I've struggled with that kind of stuff. I mean, I think displays is a big thing that you don't really think about, like I said, when you initially start collecting, because you're like, I'm going to collect a few of these. I'll put them up on a shelf, or I'll put them up on my dresser,
Exactly.
or whatever you want to do, or desk. And then all of a sudden it gets to the point where like I most definitely have like over 1,000 of these. And it's like, where am I putting them? Like, what am I going to
It's
do with
funny though.
these?
Funko has now made official like displays, kind of like the ones you said you got from
Yes.
Michael's, which is funny. It's like they saw people were probably doing. They're like, oh, let's make an official one.
Yeah. And theirs actually fits a box.
Okay.
So theirs is wider. So you can actually literally put a full box. I don't know if you can with like a protector or anything on it, but I know like a full box.
I think they're
Not even
pretty
just
expensive.
is that, yeah, they're very expensive. And it makes sense because like I said, even these get pretty pricey, and they're smaller, and it's more meant for like I said, it's meant for a baseball bat, but it fits them perfectly. So if you wanted to keep them in box, I guess that's kind of cool. I think they might have a light on there too. I don't know. I don't remember, but I know that they sell their own version, and that is kind of new, somewhat new at least,
Yeah, it's pretty new.
because they didn't have really anything like that, unless you got like one of those Funko display ones from like a store or something. Because I have seen a few people with those, but even that, you're still limited to,
Yeah, there's not much
having
space.
it look more like a store where you're just
Yeah.
pulling off of a shelf. So it's tough. I mean, it's something that you don't think about, and I think if you do, you might be able to set something up real nice, even if it's not dedicated exactly the same size, just so you could figure out what you want to do and how do you want these things to look. I personally love doing this kind of look. I've gotten so many different people like praising the way that it looks, because no one has seen anything like this, where you see all out of box on one wall and then all in box, and then now it's sodas, because at first this was all pops. But yeah, that's kind of like what I do with mine. My 10 inches right now, like I said before, they're all in box, but they're stacked up, and then some are down here in the bottom. But if I had the room, I had dedicated space, they would 100% be out of boxes. They look so sick out of box. I used to have them on my desk, like 2 or 3 before I got more 10-inch pops.
Yeah.
But that's
I
kind of
sometimes
how
wish
I
they
do
didn't
it.
make the boxes look so cool. Like I sometimes wish, like, what do the people at Funko? I'm sure most of them keep them in box, but it's like I wonder what their opinion is on taking them out of box, because
I honestly think they think that you're supposed to take them out of box, because I think that became a thing with the collecting world, when
okay,
values and like reselling and like holding on to a valuable piece that's now worth $1,000. Like, I think that's where it came from. And Funko made it as a collectible toy figure that, first of all, there's details on some of these pops on the back that you can't see them unless you take them out of the box anyways. So they're not just going to do that and like, think you're never going to take it out. And the only reason why I said that initially is because I don't know if you ever have watched original Funko's IG where they'll talk about drops and the two girls are on there all the time.
Yeah,
usually.
they have. You're right.
And they take them out right away. They take them out right away. So as soon as they say, okay, we're going to do an unboxing of this, they pop it open at the bottom. They pull out the plastic. They show off the pop like nothing. Now, granted, they didn't buy that pop. They're not going to, it's given to them to show off. They don't really care, but they're showing you the pop because it is a figure at the end of the day. And the whole box thing, I think, is really just that whole old school. Well, I have this vintage, 1930s toy in a crusty box that I never opened. And the second you open it, the value is going to be gone. And I think that's what shot it up in the sense of like everyone wanted to do that. And it's so funny because it's with everything collectibles, because even I was actually at the football game today, actually the Giants and Falcons fan. So I'm here local in New Jersey. So I was able to go to the game and they gave away an Eli Manning bobblehead because today was the day that they retired his number. So that was actually pretty cool. Yeah. So they retired his number 10, and they gave away the first 20,000 people got a bobblehead doll. So me and my wife got one. I'm a Falcons fan. She's not a huge football fan, but she's getting into it. So now she's becoming a Falcons fan. So we still got it because I think it's still cool. I like sports in general. I have other players and stuff. I've talked about this before. So Eli Manning was cool. He's now retired and all that. So I thought it would be a cool collectible. It's a bobblehead. I don't really have many of those sports bobbleheads. Listen to this. So the second I got it, we're walking around at least 5 different times. Before we even got to our seat, someone asked me, will you sell that? I'll give you $5 for that. And mind you, they're free. When you walked in, there were free 20,000 of them only, right? So some people, either got late or didn't get to get it, or what they really wanted was they were trying to get it so they could resell it. Because when we sat down, people were talking and we overheard that free bobblehead that just dropped today on eBay was already being listed for $150.
It's crazy.
So, and it's probably something that will hold value, have value. Like I said, he just retired. It was released on the day that they, retire his number, and it's a bobblehead. It's got all his stats on the box. Like the box is cool. But I heard a guy, and he said, this is why I brought it up. So a guy goes, the other dude was like looking at it, and he was like, oh, whatever. And he goes, oh, why did you open that? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, you shouldn't have opened the box. Now it's not going to have any value. And dude, when I tell you that it's not like a pop box, it's literally just a regular box that has a flap. It wasn't taped or sealed. It just has a flap that you open on the top and you pull the bobblehead out. I'm sure you could do that, close the box, and you're perfectly fine. But it's just that mindset of like everything has value the second it's not opened. And I think that's what took over Funko and like collectors like us. And like it even did with me in the beginning. I didn't really care. And now I don't necessarily care. I'll open up a pop, but not everything. Now I'm kind of like, no, I don't want to open that. Like my Ghostface, like obsessed with this. It's one of my favorite pops ever. I'm not going to open it. I'll just leave them there. It's fine. And it's just like, it's a weird thing. It's a crazy.
It is weird
mindset thing.
It's funny you bring up the bobblehead though. Like I'm a huge Met fan, and we went to a Met game, and one of their pitchers, Noah Syndergaard, his nickname is Thor. They actually partnered officially with Marvel, and they came out with a bobblehead of him where he was wearing Thor's armor. I took that right out of the box and didn't even think twice. Like to me, like that, like needs to be like, I have that. It was on my desk. Like I want to see it. And like, that's the thing about Funko. And it's interesting you say, like, you're right. They probably, when they first started, expect you to take them out. Their boxes are at least cool looking, and they do have a display window. They put like someone's job to make those boxes. They put a lot of work into the art. There's so many other toys and collectibles. It's just like a box. I think boxes have become more special now because they know people aren't taking stuff out. But yeah, for that's hilarious. For like that was a free giveaway.
A free giveaway. It's going $150 on eBay, and who knows if it'll stay there, or it's going to drop. But yeah, the thing about the boxes, like you said with Funko, they have windows, which is awesome because I think that's one thing that really like caught my attention when I first saw Funkos, and I was like, I want to get a pop, was because it had the name of the movie or the show or the character or whatever. It had their name, and then it has a big picture of the pop version on the side, and then on the side of the box is another picture. On the back, there's always art or there's something in it, but then there's 2 sides of the window, so you still can see the side or you can see up the front. But like you said, majority of other like collectible figures, like this bobblehead, first of all, it's a bobblehead. So like the point of it is to be out and bobble
Yeah,
and, you know, be displayed,
it's the
right?
whole point of it.
But even if it didn't do that, if it had a window, all right, cool, keep it in the box. But it's a blue box, bro. It's a literally complete blue box, and every side has something on it. It has like pictures of him, his stats, his
And
name,
did it have a
like whatever it
sponsor?
is.
I'm assuming it has like a lot of those free giveaways then have like another brand like slapped on it. And this not even have
I
that.
don't know. I actually have it right here. Let me see. Just knock something over. So yeah, Pepsi.
Yeah, so
But
there you go.
that's like a Giants.
It
That's like
is,
a Giants thing.
but it's like that's on the box. Like I feel like the Mets is always like Modell's or it's City Field, so it's got the Citibank on it. It's just kind of like that just takes away from it, like screaming, "I want this out of the box."
Yeah, I think like it doesn't need to be something that I don't know. And like I said, look, it's a little flap. You can open this up, but the guy though that I was talking about, he tore up the bottom. He didn't even know what he was doing. He tore the bottom, and that's why the other one was like, "What are you doing? Why'd you open the box?" So I guess maybe in that sense he screwed up the box completely. But I mean, this talks about like honoring him. It's got pictures of him and all his stats and stuff. But I'm gonna open it. Like eventually, I'll open it. I'll leave it in the box until I know I have somewhere to put it, because that's kind of what I'll do. Like I had gotten first time ever, I bought a super plastic figure. Do you know super plastic? Like the designer toy. So it's pretty expensive most of the time. So like they have some cool stuff, but I usually never go after it. But there was this one character I wanted. I did a video on it. He's a glow in the dark. It's like a rabbit. It's pretty cool. He's still in the box right now because it's a bigger figure and I have no idea where I would display that. So he's just in the box. In the box, you can't display it. It says super plastic and then so like the name. That's it. So yeah, so you can. It's a weird thing. I think you just have to have the room. You got to have a full dedicated thing where you can just set up walls and shelves and get everything to look sick and tables and different things. And I would probably do something like, because I know you do in and out of box kind of mixed.
Yeah,
I'll do something like that too if I had more room, especially because I have all these. So, but right now I'm very limited to what I have, and that's kind of what I have to do with displays. But it is an interesting thing. I think collectibles in general are not are to people that don't do it at all. They think we're probably crazy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have all these figures. Oh, you don't take them out of the box, or you have them if you collect comics, they're in sleeves. Like, Pokemon cards, like they put them in sleeves instantly, and then they grade them on how much the lines are moved to the side. Crazy. Like, it's so intense that I know I watch people on YouTube talk about sodas, and like when sodas are still fairly new, in the future, are they going to grade the pogs? Are they going to grade the can? Like if it has dents or if the pog has discoloration or whatever, like if they might, and maybe that's what will make it really big. But I don't see myself going to Pawn Stars anytime soon and showing them like, hey, I have these things mint in the box and whatever. So that's the way I see it. But yeah, I mean, I think displays is an interesting thing. I did want to make sure we talked about this because I thought you don't think about it right away, but it is something that is important if you are going to be a collector. Otherwise, you're going to have just boxes and boxes or put away somewhere, and then at that point it's like, what are you even doing? You're not really displaying them. So that's my whole outlook on displays, but it's pretty nutty. But but yeah, so let's talk about our pop. So like we did last week, we wanted to show you guys and kind of talk about a pop that we really like, whether it's a favorite or a reason why we have it. We started this last week. I know, Charlie, you did the Kevin Smith pop. I think it was your first one. It was just signed, which was super cool. And I showed off my Walter White from Breaking Bad being my favorite show. So this time, what do you got for us?
So this time I have Madame Leota. It's a Disney Parks exclusive. She's one of the main characters in the Haunted Mansion ride. I'm a huge Haunted Mansion fan. That's something I actually do collect, and I just think this pop is just so cool. It also glows in the dark, and to me this is a perfect character to make into a Funko Pop. And I just love that Haunted Mansion came out with the line when they first came out. I was like, I had to have this, and it's just something. Like I said, people who know me, I'm a huge Disney person, especially Disney parks. So this is something I just had to have for my collection. I love it.
Yeah, there's the glow good on it.
It is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like you just see the ball that she's in. Like it's perfectly made.
Because sometimes you get glow and it doesn't glow good, and then other times it's better. So I think that's pretty cool. That's a sick one. I'm gonna confess something to you. I don't know anything about Haunted Mansion. I've never seen it. I don't know I know
You didn't go on the
I know it's a
ride. You didn't go on the
Disney.
ride when you were just in Disney.
No, when I was at Disney, I didn't go on a ride, but
Ah,
the line was pretty long, and at that time, I was only I if I had to go on a ride because we went with my daughter,
yep.
we couldn't go on rides together, so I would have to go by myself. So I'm like, I don't want to wait in line just to go on by myself. So I would try to find something else, and I didn't go on it. But the only reason I was asking this is because is it like an original? Is it like a animated movie?
No,
Because
so
I know that
it's
there's a movie with Eddie Murphy. Is
yeah.
that the
So
same movie?
that movie's garbage. So
Okay,
this is
because I know that's on
actually
Disney Plus. That's why.
yeah, no. So weirdly enough, which some people don't know, obviously, this is a theme park original idea that was created for
Okay.
Disneyland. What Disney has now done, like I know some people don't realize, like Pirates of the Caribbean, for example, I put it along
Mhm.
the same line. They're both very similar rides. That was a theme park ride that they turned into a, $1 billion movie
Okay.
franchise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Haunted Mansion, same thing. They tried to do it with the Eddie Murphy movie. It kind of just didn't hit. They're actually coming out. They're making a new one that's going to be coming out that I think is going to be awesome. Like the cast is stacked. It's got Owen Wilson in it, Tiffany Haddish. The cast is still being developed. The thing
Yeah.
that's always been interesting about a Haunted Mansion, it's like because it's Disney, it's like some people find it scary, some people don't. Like it could be a little bit funny. It's just like I love it. It's one of my favorite Disney rides of all time. I go on it
Yeah.
all the time. I never get sick of it. And they're actually coming out with on Disney Plus a Muppets Haunted Mansion special, which I'm pretty
Uh-huh.
excited for. It looks like a million celebrities are in it.
Oh, nice.
It just yeah. So it's
So it's
not based
based
off
off
of
of that the ride and the actual like
correct, not a
that whole
movie
thing.
or
Okay. Cool.
anything. Like
Yeah,
this
because that's what
character
I
is in that
figured. I
Eddie
didn't.
Murphy movie.
Yeah.
She is one of the main like symbols of the ride.
Yeah. Okay. Because I've seen. I mean, I've seen them. I've seen the pops. I know the pops are pretty popular, and I don't. I think I may have gotten one in a mystery box at one point. I don't know if I still
It's
do.
funny. They came
Uh,
out with cool chases, which like I have the whole line, but I don't have any of the chases. There's one scene. So when you go on the ride, since you've never been on it, you go into like an elevator and it looks like it's stretching and there's like paintings on the wall. And like they look like normal paintings. And when you stretch, you
yeah.
see like, someone's over, an alligator's trying to eat her, some guy's on
Uh,
dynamite. For the pops, they made like the normal pictures, which they were the normal ones, and then the chase is what they looked like they were stretching, which was kind of cool.
is I might be confusing this with something else, but is there a character named Constance Hatchaway or whatever? Is that
Yes,
is that the
yes,
same? Okay,
I
because
think so. Yeah,
I had that chase. That was one of the a random one that I pulled in a mystery box. I think I recently just sold it, and she's like sitting on a gravestone or something.
yep, yeah, exactly.
So
Yep,
that's the same thing. Okay.
yep.
Yeah. So that was the only one I think I've ever gotten from that line. And it was something I just pulled in a mystery box. It was pretty cool. I mean, it had pretty good value on it too, still, because some of those are like the chases are a little tough to get. I see. But yeah, I didn't know too much about it, so I figured I'd ask because
Yeah,
I didn't think it was a movie, but I know I see the one on Disney Plus with Eddie
exactly.
Murphy, and I'm like, is that where? I was like, there's no way that that's what this is like based off
No,
of, and it's
because this
obviously
is a
like that's just a spin off.
huge cult following, and yeah, they tried to make
Oh, the merchandise I know is
yes,
bananas. You go to Disney and they have a whole section of loungefly bags and ears and all these different things
exactly.
that are just Haunted Mansion. So that makes sense then. All right, so mine this is I would say my favorite pop of all time that I currently own now. It's one that has a crazy story to it because it was one I thought I never would own. The value on this would skyrocket, and it's so tough to get, but it's my favorite character of all time. So I had to try to figure it out. And I was lucky enough to, with somebody get a great deal. I have a video unboxing this and going more in depth about that specifically, but it is the Joker from the bank, the bank robber Joker from the Dark Knight.
It's
And of
awesome.
course, the Dark Knight trilogy, but this is just like the Dark Knight one. And I think it's so sick. I mean, it's such a cool mold. It's him with the mask on when he's in the very beginning robbing the bank, and Heath Ledger I think was phenomenal as a Joker. I mean, anything of his I usually try to get. So this is one of those ones that like I definitely wanted, and it was more because I personally loved the character and because it just worked out perfectly for me to get it. But we were talking about this whole thing on like how you could have had this at one point because these pops we talked about this last week too. All these pops drop at $12 to $15, and then now they're worth hundreds of dollars. And you think back like, wow, I could have totally got that for dirt cheap. And why did it become so valuable? And I know we're not going to go into it now, but I do want to in a future episode, like kind of go into grails and what we think makes them grails and like why do they get so expensive and stuff. But yeah, this is one that I'm definitely never getting rid of and will forever, even if I sell a bunch of my pops, this will forever be one that I'm going to hold on to. But it's the Joker bank robber. There is a 2-pack, which would be sick too, and that thing's over $1,000. It's insane.
Yeah, it's
and it's
crazy.
this one, and then the regular version of Heath Ledger, and it glows, but they both glow in the dark, which is cool. But $1,000, unless I'm like I get in a mystery box like out of luck, like there's no way. Like that's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy how, like, I know you said we'll talk about girls in a later episode, but that is insane how that's one of the most valuable pops out there for something. Like I said, like I've been a collector for a while and I really started off with just Star Wars, even though I'm a huge Batman guy. Like I was like, you know what? I'm not going to buy that pop just because like I don't want to start collecting everything. And now I look back, I'm like, I can't believe I could have had that. There's like so many I see the value skyrocketed that I'm like, I can't believe I could have had that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's interesting. That'll be a fun show for us to kind of just break that down and what we think about the values and stuff. But I think that's going to be it for episode 3. Yeah, it was a pretty good episode. It was a lot of news, a lot of stuff for you guys. Hopefully you guys are going after it. If you guys are going to pay for some of this stuff or you're going to pass on this stuff, let us know. Feel free to comment down below. All the regular stuff, all our handles and stuff are here on the page if you're watching us on YouTube. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel and you're following both of us on our own Instagrams as well as the Collective Chatter information as well. If you're on the podcast, all this stuff will be in description as well, just to make sure you guys have the ability to follow us and make sure that you guys are listening or watching, whatever you do. Thank you guys for the support. Anything from your side, Charlie?
Yeah, and obviously everything Miguel just said, but also please just like message us, whether it's on Instagram or leave the comments, like we said on YouTube. Let us know what maybe you want us to start talking about in episodes, what we're always opened up to ideas. I'm really enjoying having this podcast and we would like you guys to be as interactive as possible. So if you drop us like a comment or even a comment on Instagram, or you can directly message us, like whether it's on our Collector Chatter or our personal pages, like we want to hear from you.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. So take it easy, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
Later.